So if you've ever been comfortable socially in your life, you know that it's possible. It's not because of the person, it's because of your thoughts when you're around that person. And you can have those thoughts anytime. Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually at my friend's house and he has a beautiful home, right? It's really nice. It's my birthday weekend, and so I'm visiting some friends in the city, and he's also helping me a lot with some video editing and understanding video more. So this video will look particularly good, but then next week it's gonna be back to my quality. But I'm learning a lot. So anyway, today I want to talk to you guys about my social anxiety. So I'll explain later on why I'm putting it in quotation marks. But I know a lot of people, and a lot of people who follow me struggle with social anxiety. And recently, I wouldn't say that I'm like this crazy social butterfly, but I have made a lot of improvements that I thought was once completely impossible. So I would like to share with you my story and then how I've been able to make improvements, even if I'm not perfect yet, because it's already been some pretty big improvements. Okay, so I've always been shy since I was a kid. I only remember ever being shy, but when we're kids, it's still a little bit easier to make friends because you want to play? Hey, you want to play? You just kind of become friends, right? So I didn't really know that it was quite a serious issue for me throughout middle school and high school, because I just had these friends that I was comfortable with since I was younger, and I was just really comfortable with them. And I would feel nervous around new people. I always had my friends around me, so that would make me feel comfortable. However, I do remember one time when one semester I decided to focus on my grades, so I stopped going out, I stopped drinking like many of the kids in my year did, but I did get invited to a party once, and I decided to go. I was gonna be going completely sober. For some reason my friends didn't go, it was just me by myself going to this party. And it was not a good time, you guys. I was in the bathroom the whole time, and then I came out of the bathroom at one point to try and get myself going again. I took a look at one person and ran right back in and stayed there the entire night. Yeah, just there was not really any clear signs except for that one incident that I just really, really suppressed in my head, that I just pretended like that never happened. And after that semester, I was back. I started drinking again, and then, social lubricant. Drinking made it very easy to be social, so I just relied on that throughout the rest of high school. Then I went to college, and completely new environment, completely new set of people. I really didn't have my friends to kind of help me feel comfortable. I really struggled, and I moved to New York City for college, and I did not make a single friend for 2 years. And then I was also in a long distance relationship, and because I was so lonely, it just made me be even more enmeshed into that relationship, and I just kind of isolated myself more and more, just spent all day talking to my boyfriend who was in another country, and I was a bit addicted to it. There was one time when I went to class, and the class was finished, and I left my coat in the classroom. But there was a common room lab right outside the classroom where I was working for a little bit because I had a team project. But then at one point we were done, and I realized, crap, I left my coat inside the classroom. And it was winter in New York City at this point. I could not bring myself to knock on that door and just say, excuse me, I'm sorry, I left my coat in here. I just couldn't. I was freaking out. I was pacing in that common room area for an hour after I realized that my coat was left in there. And my team members, I think, probably thought I was fucking crazy, honestly. And I kept walking towards the door and then backtrack. Walking towards the door, backtrack. Walking towards the door, backtrack. The idea of walking into that room and having all these pairs of eyes looking right at me, that just brought me nightmares. Impossible. I just couldn't get past it at all. So then I decided I just went home without a coat. I just went home. I walked in the New York City streets in 0 to 5 degree weather without a coat because I just couldn't go inside and ask for my coat. After that incident, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, something is really not right here. I think I really do need help at this point, and my boyfriend agreed at the time. I found a therapist, and when I called him, and it took me a long time to call the therapist because I kept telling myself that what if I call this therapist and they'll say like, oh, you don't really have a real problem. What are you doing wasting my time? There are people who actually need my help. But eventually with the nudge of my boyfriend and just like I just had to freaking figure this out, I finally called. When I told the therapist like what was going on, he said, it sounds like you might have social anxiety. And when he said that, it was like a tiger who just found like fresh kill. Like I latched onto that so quickly. It was like, oh, yep, there it is. That's my problem. That's my label. See, I pretty much after that kind of like wore social anxiety, like as if it was written on my forehead. Really, really identified with that. And I think since that point, it was just kind of getting worse and worse and worse. It really felt like it was something that was always going to be impossible to overcome. The idea of growing a business, like it sounds hard, but I was like, okay, I think I could do it. The idea of growing a YouTube channel, yep, sounds hard, but I'm sure I could figure it out. The idea of finding the perfect relationship, right? Like finding my future husband, the idea of being a good parent, yeah, okay, I think those are things that like sounds hard, but I could figure out. Social interaction, like being able to feel comfortable in a social environment, that was something my brain was just like, this is gonna be impossible. I just can't imagine it. I just can't imagine going up to talk to somebody who I think is really cool and somebody that I'm interested in talking to. I thought like, there's just no way. Here is how I've been able to deal with it and actually make some improvements in my life, and I really hope this can help you too. So one of the things that really helped me, number one, is that I really, really internalized that everyone's opinions of me has actually nothing to do with me and all to do with them. And that's true because if everyone's opinions about me had to do with me, like I'm the constant, then everyone's opinions about me would be the exact same, right? But that's not true. Every person has a different opinion about me, and so that means that all of their opinions have all to do with them. I went to Japan recently and I stayed in a hostel, which was definitely one of the scary things that is on my list whenever I travel, is staying in hostels, because it's a very social type of way of traveling and it's really scary, but I know that that's how I can improve. And while I was in Japan, I really practiced introducing myself to people, or if I think of something to say, I just say it. So that's including like when I'm in the elevator and there's somebody else next to me, it's just saying like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? So I was able to go into a common room and there was a group of people on a couch, and towards the like last day, I was able to just say to these people, hi, I'm Katie. And the way I was thinking about it was like, if the worst possible thing were to happen, and for me, it's like I introduce myself to this group of people and they look at me for a good like 3 seconds and then they just ignore me and look away, that would probably be one of the scariest things, because I'll just be wondering what it is they thought about. I was really certain by this point that I would not make it mean something about myself. I would not make it mean that, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm not likable, I'm clearly not good enough for this group. I knew that I wasn't going to think that way. And if the worst thing did happen, I knew that I would think, oh, these people are rude. These people don't have any manners. I just introduced myself. And I would walk away and just find other people to talk to. Like, I would not make it mean anything about me. And so when I've internalized that other people's thoughts have to do with them, then that gives me the courage to do what I want to do, which is like say hi, introduce myself, feel comfortable in the situation. Number 2 thing that really helped me with my social anxiety is changing my self-image. So the reason I put in this title my social anxiety in quotation marks is because I don't identify with social anxiety anymore. So currently, social interactions is still not something that's comfortable for me, whether it is introducing myself, like initiating conversation and during conversation, even ending conversation is still not comfortable for me. But I've stopped identifying as somebody who is like socially anxious. You might not be able to do that yet, like if you haven't shown yourself that you're able to improve from the social anxiety, but you can start to look at the label as something that's not permanent, that it's something that's not like a disorder and it's a stamp and you're just branded with it, that it's this thing that is temporary with work and with time. I think that's true for any diagnosis that you get from a psychiatrist, from a doctor, to see it as something that you can work through and that it's not permanent, it's not like this is who you are now. I think that would be so helpful in our mindset when it actually comes to improve. But then eventually I was able to actually let go of the label completely because I've seen instances where I am socially comfortable. With working with my coach, she helped me realize that I used to use alcohol as a crutch, and I really thought that alcohol was what gave me confidence, and I thought alcohol was what brought out the real me. But then we kind of talked about it and we figured it out that it wasn't the alcohol, it was actually me thinking that if I say something stupid or if I say something lame, that I can blame it on the alcohol. That showed me that it was possible. It showed me that I am this person. It's not the alcohol, it was my thoughts about it. What I'm working on changing right now is that if I do something silly or say something silly, I don't need to make it mean that I'm lame. I don't need to make it mean that I'm embarrassing. I don't need to make it mean that I'm not worth being friends with, because that's the kind of stuff that was going on in my head. And then when I had alcohol, it was like I gave myself permission because I had this crutch. So if you've ever been comfortable socially in your life, you know that it's possible. It's not because of the person, it's because of your thoughts when you're around that person. And you can have those thoughts anytime. Okay, but those 2 things are easier said than done, right? How have I been able to internalize that other people's opinions don't have anything to do with me and change my self-image? I did 2 of Brooke Castillo's model every single day. I will link her podcast episode where she talks about the model and how to use it, and then you can look at that if you're interested in doing this too. The point of doing the model every single day is that when you show over and over and over and over again to yourself that your thoughts is what creates your feelings and what creates your reality, and other people's thoughts is what creates their opinions and their reality, and that we have zero control over others people's opinions or thoughts, and we only have control for ours, it completely brainwashes my brain positively to be who I want to be my real self, because I just realized that I can't control other people's emotions or feelings, I can only control mine. And finally, the 3rd thing that really helped is having a life coach. I'll be doing another video all about my experience of being coached. I'll also be doing another video about the difference between life coaching and therapy. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope that this was helpful. I'm gonna be doing the YouTuber thing, which is, could you please give this video a thumbs up if this was helpful, if this was interesting, especially because then it could help other people. And please send this to anybody that you know who is struggling with social anxiety, because it sucks. Okay, thanks guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye. Cool. Okay. Bye, Nick. Thanks. Thanks for the help.